Hi everyone, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Hope you guys are keeping well. These are the new Sony Linkbuds. Don't worry, I'll do some close-ups on these. So these are brand new from Sony. I waited before doing my review because I knew that it needed a firmware update. So most of the early reviews were done on pre-release firmware and I couldn't even connect to the Sony Headphone app. So I'm going to show you all the features that you get with the Sony Headphone app, do a close-up of these as well. So just very quickly, we'll talk through what you get in the box. They do use this recycling cardboard, so if you open the box, you'll see that you have the headphones themselves, you have the sort of wing, I won't say wingtips, but they have these like plastic things that go into your ears, and I'll show you how that works in a second. And you literally just have different sizes of that, a little charge cable, some manuals, and that is about it. So what I'm going to do is just going to show you how these fit in your ears. And they literally, they don't go in your ears, they sort of rest on the inside. And it's really important that if you, when you get these, that this little wing thing here, that you get the right size. So they're in my ears and they won't come out. If you have the wrong size, they could drop out. If they're too big, they'll be uncomfortable. So it's really important to get that little wingtip the right size. You might have different ones, different sizes for each ear. Now these are IPX4, so you could do a gym workout on these. That's pretty good. The codecs they have are AAC and SBC, but if you go into the Sony Headphone app, which you must do, I'm going to show you some of the recommended settings to get the most out of these. Now, if I talk through this case, you can get 12.5 hours additional charge from this case and 5.5 hours maximum extra from these buds. I've probably got, when I've used them in earnest, 4.5 hours straight from these. So not quite the 5.5 hours that Sony said. Now, if you look through the Sony app, you can see I've already connected these. And I'm using with my Samsung Galaxy here S22 Ultra. I'm AAC and I've used the additional DSEE engine that Sony have, and I'll explain more about that. Now if you go to the next screen, next tab which says sound, the first option you have is speak to chat. Now what that does is every time it hears your voice like this, it will pause the music and just let you hear everything that's happening. But these are different. As you can see, these have a hole in the middle. I've turned that off because you don't need it. You can hear, I can hear absolutely everything I'm saying is clear as day. I can hear the noise outside, I can hear the birds tweeting, absolutely everything. So these aren't like the Sony XM4s, which are the noise cancelling over the ear, which are solid outer cup with massive noise cancellation. These let everything in. These are an open back ear design, and there's a lot of benefits for that, but obviously these aren't necessarily for everyone. So the first thing you need to do is go into the equalizer, and you'll need to adjust the clear bass to 10. Absolutely, just yank it right up, maybe 8, but it's not that these aren't bass heavy headphones. They're extraordinarily neutral. So if you listen to a lot of electronic music, hip hop, dance, you won't want these. They're not for you. But for some genres like jazz, vocals, these are exceptionally good. But I said they're very specific, and I'll cover some of the sound quality a bit more. But you do need to use that equalizer. I've put the V shape there just to help with the bass. If you carry on down the screen on the sound tab, you can have the 360 audio. I don't use it, but it's there if you want it. And you can prioritize on the sound quality, which I believe is worth doing. And obviously, you can turn on the DSEE engine, which I recommend on these to get the maximum sound quality you can from them. There's no multi-point connection, which is a shame. Also on this case, it charges via USB-C, but there's no Qi charging. If we go to the third tab, which at the top says System, you can have adaptive volume control. So as you move in and out of go into a noisy environment, it raises the volume, and if it's a quieter volume, it will drop it. Again, I just don't see the point of that. Just adjust the volume as you need it. Unless you are going to a noisy environment, but I wouldn't recommend these in a noisy environment because there is no noise cancellation, not suitable at all. You can change the tap operation. What these do have, which is really bizarre, is called a wide tap area. So if I tap here, and it's just on here because the assistant's and the Google Assistant's talking to me in the ear, but you can actually use this part here to tap, and it's just surreal. You can tap the actual earphones themselves, but it's much nicer to tap, not tap your ears. Absolutely incredible. You can have automatic power off. You've also got, you can pause when the headphones are taken out. Underneath that, you've also got download software update automatically. And if you're not on 1.0.4 minimum, then I do suggest you try and see whether you can get an update. And it doesn't take long to do the update, but it's you definitely need an update on these. Finally, on the services, you can have literally quick access to stuff like Spotify. I don't use Spotify, but that's shown there as an option, as an example. First of all, comfort. These are extraordinarily comfortable. I can wear these all day. The fact the batteries only last max, say 5.5 hours until you put them in the case. But if you put them here for 10 minutes, you will get 90 minutes of playback, which is pretty good. So they have that quick charge functionality. But again, these are super comfortable. Because of the fact that they're sort of an open back design and they let sound in and out just as freely, especially that you can hear everything around you in an office environment, these are fantastic. If you had kids, young kids, and you need to hear what they were doing, fantastic. Mic quality is extraordinarily good. I would actually say I prefer the mics on these to AirPods Pro. So very strong mics. I've used them for phone calls, conference calls, video calls, you name it, no problem. And because they're so discreet, you don't even know, you can see that you've got them in your ears. Now, what about video latency? It's extremely low. So again, you can watch YouTube, Netflix, whatever. There's a bit of latency on some games, so maybe not the best for gaming, but to be honest, there are much more specific gaming headsets that I would recommend over these. But again, these have a purpose. They are fantastic for the purposes they're designed for. So the mics are excellent. Let's talk about that sound quality, the last piece on this. Range, yeah, I can walk around the house no problem. But again, if you've got big solid walls, you'll get 10 meters no problem. If you prioritize the connection over sound quality, you'll go up to 30 meters. It's your call, but I've had, they've been pretty good. I have had occasionally, when I've been listening to music, when I'm opening up a lot of stuff on my phone, where the sound drops occasionally from one side, but it is very rare. That might be more to do with the phone's Bluetooth than these, but just sort of point that out. But otherwise, I actually really like wearing these. And I had seen some reviews myself, and I'm sure you've looked at other reviews, and you think to yourself, nah, I'm not going to get these, waste of money. Well, actually, I'm not returning these. These are my own pair that I bought. I actually think they're brilliant for the purpose that I want them. I want to hear what's going on around me. I want to be able to hear my voice freely on calls and conference calls. I absolutely love that. And I want people to hear me clearly on the calls. When I listen to music, I won't play heavy music with heavy sub-bass tracks because there's no sub-bass in these. But I will listen to jazz, I will listen to classical, and for those types of genres, I think these aren't too bad. They have some mid bass, but it's not a lot. But again, the mids and the trebles are really nice. You do need to let these play for about 5 hours just to let them burn in a fraction. Don't need much longer than that. So you could literally just take them out, turn off the turn off option when out of ears, and play music for just 5 hours, one charge, let them burn through, and then you'll get, the drivers have just sort of settled in a bit better. Would I recommend this? Actually, I would. And they grow. The more you have these, the more they grow on you. But I said they're not like some headphones. You see, something like these are the Sound Peats Mini Pros, which I'm reviewing at the moment, testing these at the moment. These have such strong bass, these feel anemic, and it just depends what you get used to. But I can assure you, after a while, if you don't suddenly switch headphones, you'll get used to that lack of bass, and you'll appreciate what these are all about. I do think at £149, the opening price, too expensive, but I'm sure that, like all Sony headphones, they will drop over time. Although at the moment, since they've come out, surprisingly, they haven't dropped, which normally isn't the way. But anyway, you might have some questions, ask in the comments. This is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Catch you guys soon. Bye for now.